How do I get like a good intro, man? Welcome to another video. You never really think about these things, do you? It's just like, oh, let's do it. I've written down a few things that I like about the MPC3. I just moved to it officially a week ago or 2 weeks ago. These are the things that I enjoy about the workflow that to me are a step up from the MPC 2.0 that I was before. So these are things that I like and things that I wish they're going to bring in the future as well. There's a thing that is noticeable straight away once you get into these new tracks is that you can send MIDI out of the drum tracks. Open that up, and on the IOs we now have the MIDI in and the MIDI out as well. So we can send it to another track and it will pop up right there, right? So let's take this off and go to another track. Go to my drums, right? And I can have what I love about this is that I can create a drum pattern and then send the MIDI out to some samples and see how that behavior, that interaction occurs. That is an interesting thing to do. Or we can actually layer. So I can have this drum track and then duplicate this track to another one right there. So I've duplicated it. And this one doesn't need to have any MIDI, but track one has the MIDI, right? So this one, you have the MIDI right there. But now I can go here and say that I want to send this to drums 2, right? To my other track, drums 1 right there, right? This one, just take it off. So this track is sending it to the other track. So we're not actually triggering two programs. So it creates some interesting parallel processing of effects as well. There are a lot of possibilities here. I'm not going to spend too much time, but the ability to send MIDI from a drum track is great. But you can also receive it. Okay, so this is my drum track. I can go into a new track and say MIDI, and I can send MIDI from this to my drum track, which could be an interesting way to create drum fills in the sense that the drum tracks don't have arpeggiator, but I can use the arpeggiator from the MIDI to send to the program. Open that window up, and now we have that MIDI send right there, okay? And you'll find our tracks, track 1, all the tracks right here. So right now I can send MIDI. Let me find it. There we go. So now we're triggering our drum track from the MIDI, which I can use the arpeggiator. And we can create variations here to create sort of drum fills as well. So we got patterns right there. Right? If we only had the arpeggiator in the drum programs, it would be great. Let's keep going, man. Automation on the master outputs. Remember, you can now automate master tracks. So if you're in the arrangement, you can automate, create filter sweeps, whatever you want to do. Now we have this. If we go into buses, you'll see your tracks right there. This can open up. So you can automate whatever's in here. You got volumes, of course. And this is per sequence. So if I copy this sequence to another one, it copied the volume as well. But of course, I can just have this on the top right there. And with the help of the next sequence right there, we can have multiple sequences with multiple effects. And this can potentially become a good way to perform live as well. Actually, I have a channel strip, right? And the channel strip has an EQ. So I can potentially go into this sequence, right? Go here into the add new, go into my channel strip, go into the high pass frequency and just edit something. you can use that automation of the outputs in different sequences and create different effects for the outputs. These new little things that you have now on the program, which is random slices. So if you chop something up, you can assign it to a pad and then just randomly will jump between slices. So let's go for browser and let's just type in hat or shaker or something like hat loop. Do it, okay? And just go for internal. Let's play that. All right, that's nice. Let's put that on. But what I want to do is to actually go into the sample edit. Just select regions for this. Let's go a bit detailed here for 32. We just have a bunch of different hits. We're going to go and we don't need to do anything right now. It's sliced up, so the slices are attributed to that sample, right? So if we go into the program, we have that right here, right? We already have the slices because that's the file. And what we can do right now is that we can create different motions, random motions. So I'm going to repeat this. Right? And you can set the number of cycles here, where it starts, but this potentially can create some interesting variations for your beat. If you're on the grid, before we had the ability to change tracks straight from here. We don't have it anymore, okay? But if we press on the main, we can quickly jump to other tracks. Main, if we press that, okay, now we have that window. This is a nice one. Q links now. Q links have gone a long way. Q links, man, this is a fun one. So Q links right there. I can go into my project. I can create macros and I can create momentary behaviors. This is cool, man. And we can set multiple effects or multiple parameters to just one Q link. It's really nice. So we're going to tap that. Oh my God, that takes forever. Cool, let's get into my main. Output 1 and 2, insert 1. We're going to enable, let's say, the frequency, okay? And now let's play. And I can learn it. I can maybe go into this and create a new strip here, a modulation, whatever I want to add to this. Let's go half speed right there, and right, just create whatever effect you want for the outputs. And we're going to automate this. We're going to automate this. So maybe the mix or something like that. So let's go back here to the Q links. Got on my project, and I've selected that. I can say learn. This is another way of doing it. And I'm going to go here to half speed, and let me see. I've enabled the on and off switch. So maybe I'm going to do the mix right here. Okay, that's it. Let's get back here into the screen control, and now we have enable on and off in the mix as well. So and see how when you release it, it goes back to the original. I think that for live performance is really cool because you can get crazy with it and just release it whenever you need and just goes back to the original state. Jumping into modifiers, I touched on this in a previous video. It's really good, man. I think that it's going to help me a lot when I'm building songs and structures. You don't need to create an effect for a pad. You can just go into the modifier and change whatever you want, panning, whatever's in the modifier. It's not huge right now. It's still not huge. I wish they could add a lot more to this, but you can edit multiple modifiers at the same time, something that you couldn't do before. This is a cool function. I like it. We can go into the list editor right now, right there, list editor. This is the screen. You can do it from, where is that right now? Right there. And the mod type right there that you can edit. Before, in previous ones, you could only edit one of these at a time. Now you can edit all of them and have all of these have their own values. Okay, so sample slice can have a certain value, and sample layer can have another value. They'll release another value, and so on. This is pretty cool. Again, to me, this is the genesis of parameter locks. Hopefully, they'll keep on improving this, but I like this a lot because I don't need to. I can have a sequence, copy this sequence to another one real quick. And number 6 can have maybe the snare. I can have one of the snares just be filtered out from this. So I'm going to go into the list editor. I think it's this one. No, it's that one. Or pitch it maybe, pitch it down. And also filter it at the same time. Cut off, go down. Right? Have effects like that. You don't need to go and create automation on the tracks or anything. Just automate the steps straight from here. Another cool thing is the XL channel strip. I just like how the signal flow goes in there. I think that was really a nice touch. I love this thing, man. If you touch any of these parameters right here, it will give you the signal flow. So if you're wanting to know where the signal is going, it will show up straight away on the side. So it shows you where the signal is going to. This is MIDI, of course, but if you're on the outputs, it shows you the outputs as well. If you're going to output 3 and 4, it shows you the outputs right there, okay? If you're on the sends, if you tap a send, it'll show you the return. I think this ability to have everything tied up straight from the main screen really, really helps, man. I love the ability to see the signal flow. If I want to touch on the send, one is right there. I can put my effects right there, and it's done. I don't need to go into the mixer, pick the submix, the return, whatever it is. No, everything can get done straight from the main screen. Now, this is something that might be a little controversial because of the programs and how they're set up right now, but I actually like it. Again, I want programs back just to kind of start this idea. I do want the ability to change programs in the track, but I've been experiencing the 3.0 in this clean view, which I feel is something that is really nice to have as well. So, you know, before you would just be loading up a bunch of programs and you would have a bunch of programs inside that you wouldn't delete just because it would take a lot of time just to go and purge samples and delete programs and all of that. You end up having a lot of stuff in there that you never used, and it would just all over the place on different tracks, okay, that it would just mess up and you would have to keep count of things. So right now, this clean workflow is actually good, all right? It's really good. I don't have to be thinking about how many programs I have. I don't have to be thinking that I have to delete things. Everything is really clean. So on one side, losing that ability to change programs is good because everything is clean, everything is in place. You can just, whenever you load up a new program, in case you don't want the old one, it just deletes itself by just replacing whatever's in the track. That is good. That is a good thing. So this thing about replacing programs in the track is actually quite good. I like that, and everything's way solid. Now, I do want programs to come back. Of course, I've said that many times. I love the ability to change programs, not so much for making the beat, but when I want to do live performances, you know, having that ability to change programs inside of tracks, I think really helps to create a project for live performances. So I think it's really down to how you balance these things. I think Akai is right about having this workflow, but I want them to bring back the ability to change programs. Now, how they're going to do it, if they're going to do it, I don't know. But I think there needs to be a balance here because this idea of having a clean view is really good. It really releases a lot of this thing that you have in the back of your mind, how many programs you have, counting the programs and stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully they bring it back as well in the way that, you know, it's a type of track or something. Saving the option, saving tracks as well. You got more options now to save. I think this is pretty cool from 3.0. I want to save my program, my drums here, right? Let's just open it up. Effects, I got a Flavor Pro. These are my drums. Let's just say, come on, let's just go for 1, right? Do it. That's the name of it. I got my drums right here. I want to save this track, and it has effects in there, right? So what I'll do is I want to save this. So let me go into my menu, save. I want to save the track, right? So I'm going to save it right here, and I'm going to go DR1, save. Save the track, okay? So let's go for a new project. Don't save. Okay, let's go use the template real quick. I want to see if I can load up that. I'm going to load it into this project. And now what do we have? We have our samples, we have our effects, and we have the MIDI. You can do this before. This opens up a lot of possibilities by saving a track this way. If you think about it, you can get creative for live performances as well. You can just bring up an entire beat that you did on one track and load it up for a live performance. For the people, a lot of people got mad about me swapping to the 3.0. I'll say this, man. I understand. I'm also a guy that loves my programs. I just don't want to get stuck in 2.15 when there's so many new things happening in the future. I think it's going to be really fun to be on the MPC3. All right, so thank you so much for watching, man. I really appreciate it. Please go down and subscribe if you haven't already. Give me some ideas for videos, all right? I would love to hear your thoughts on what type of things you want me to talk about in the MPC, okay? So that was it, and all right, you have a great day, man. Thank